first, I have a little bit of a broader question for you to start. I'm curious, what is something about your definition of a final girl that stayed the same from the first movie to now? And what is something about that definition that's evolved over the years?
Well, I think the ultimate message of the final girl is that you don't give up. I think that's really, it's the Peter Gabriel song, sort of redo into one 3-word sentence, don't give up. I think Laurie Strode epitomized not giving up, this unwitting, unexpecting victim of this horrific violence. You know, all of her hopes and dreams dashed, her innocence taken, life interrupted by this monster. But no matter what, even in 2016, we meet a woman who hasn't given up.
Definitely an appropriate description right there. So one thing I was reading in the press notes, I think David had said this, was that you're always ready on set with ideas and curveballs. So is there any particular curveball you threw while you were filming this movie that now we can see in the finished version of it?
When we were rehearsing the fight sequence, which are, you know, choreographed pieces of art. I mean, it's many shots, many angles, all sorts of things. There was a moment where I still felt like a movie fight. I was still fighting the movie fight. It's just my nature. I'm not a trained actor. I'm an instinctual person as a performer. And there's a moment where Michael grabs Laurie's hair and pushes her face through a glass cabinet. And I said, I want it to be on camera. I want it to be me. I want it to be real. That feels important to me, that you don't see that in the movies very often when it's the real person, unless it's Tom Cruise, apparently, who apparently does everything. And I admire him so much for it. But that's just one that popped in my mind.
That's a rock solid one. That is a wicked fight sequence, too. It's very, very visceral, which is very appropriate for the end of this franchise. Speaking, or this trilogy at least, I don't want to make that assumption because evil changes shape and it can keep on coming. Actually, I'll go there next then. Given the fact that they do have that line at the end of the movie that even though Michael Myers is dead, evil can take on a new shape. Do you think that there is any happily ever after for Laurie, or is there always going to be that risk that a new shape can form and manifest evil around her?
So is this the spoiler alert?
Oh yeah, you can
question?
go for it. This whole video will be labeled with a spoiler warning.
Okay, well, I worry because, you know, people, we have protected, I've been around the world and I have stayed as far away from answering anything because we work too hard to create the inevitable collision between Michael and Laurie. The entire franchise is built on that collision of good and evil. And, you know, there were many iterations and many ideas of transference between Michael and Laurie. There was even a conversation and that if she kills, she's a killer. And then does she have to isolate for the rest of her life because she, you know, there are big, big questions that we talked about. There were a lot of those conversations. My contribution, and I can't believe I'm saying this on a camera to a journalist, but I really respect Collider and I know what you guys do. So Universal, don't hurt her. Okay? Do not hurt her. My contribution to Halloween is that the last scene takes place on the front porch of her house. It originally took place inside her house in the doorway. And I said to David, I actually said it to David, and I had started to cry when we were talking about it. I said, Halloween began in Haddonfield on this beautiful fall day with leaves, you know, wind blowing leaves and kids riding bikes. And I said, it's not a happy ending movie. There's no celebration of anything. It's sad. But there's a drop of hope that maybe Laurie Strode will have a minute in her life that's at peace. And I said, I really think, Dave, we need to move this to the front porch, and I think you need to show kids on bikes. Like, you have to see that innocence prevails, that peace prevails, and that there's a chance for Laurie Strode. Broken and hurt and damaged, but that it's going to be okay for a minute. And that's my contribution to Halloween, really, is that it's on the front porch of her house, on a street in Haddonfield, Illinois, on November 1st at 8:30 in the morning.
You feel what you described. It's like, I know that endings can be interpreted different ways, and that's kind of the exciting thing about film and receiving story. That sense of hope is very, very visceral on that porch at the end of this.
And it has to be, because if not, what's the point?
Yeah, that's what keeps me coming back for more with this franchise and other ones, is even though I get a big thrill out of the violence and the set pieces and the darkness.
You can get a thrill out of all the darkness, darling. Mommy doesn't go near the darkness.
But between you and I was just talking to Heather Langenkamp, and I think about Neve Campbell all the time, there's always that really strong through line of fight, a tinge of hope often in a lot of these movies, and that's what makes me feel empowered as a fan and as a person in general, as a big horror lover. So,
well, I'm not a horror lover at all. You know, I'm a horror hater. I hate it. I don't want to be scared. I don't enjoy it. There's nothing about it I enjoy. Nothing. And yet it has given me my entire life. And so I have great reverence for it, appreciation for the fans, appreciation for people who lean into it and dissect it and live it and chew it and eat it and digest it and love it and metabolize it into their lives. And I don't. And so, you know, it's been a complicated dance for me. And but without you, I don't have a career. And so I'm grateful to you.
Well, I'm grateful to you because I say this all the time. I use horror as a way to process difficult human truths that I can't come face to face in the real world with, but I can do it when I watch it from a safe distance and I'm seeing it in a movie. And that happens in a lot of my favorite franchises.
Do you know Michael Moses? Do you know who he is?
Why do
Michael
I know
Moses is the head of marketing for Universal.
Okay. And
I've made 3 movies with him. And Michael Moses wrote this line as an introduction for me at CinemaCon. And I remember reading this whole long paragraph that I tried to make my own words. And then there was this sentence in the middle, and I remember reading it and going like, ah, who wrote that? Horror lets us confront what we can't control. Boom. It's amazing. And that's Michael Moses.
Smiling.
Head of marketing.
Movie lovingness in a nutshell right there. All right, I already got the rap sign with you, but I'll pivot to like a fun, silly question. So you're very, very attached to Laurie, clearly, but there are many iconic final girls out there. So if you had to swap roles with any other one, who would you choose and why?
I've never seen any of it. How could I ever see any of it?
That's fair.
I'm not lying. Freaky Friday scared me. I mean, I don't like any of it. I know Neve, so I'm going to say Neve because I know her. You know what I mean? We're acquaintances. So I'm going to say Neve because I know she is in a movie, but I've never seen the movie and I never will see the movie. And I'm going to show you why I've never seen the movie.
Oh, no. It's my second favorite movie of all time.
Okay,
so
I'm going to show you why.
There
There is one reason and one reason only that I don't like horror movies. Because since I was a baby, I have been terrified. Since I was born scared. Look at that face. That is the face that I make all day long.
Okay.
I made it when I was whatever age that was. I'm always looking over my shoulder. I'm always going like, wait, what? What happened? What is it? I'm that person. So that tells you it's not acting. It is my natural state of being.
If I had my phone with me, I would show you a baby photo and it would be the exact opposite of that face. And that's how I came into the world. Just like inject all of this in my eyeballs because
Really?
I love it. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I was
And that's why
conditioned
you're
from a
now
very
at
young age.
Collider.
You know what? Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think more so than anything, the iconic horror franchises were my gateway, but I'm deeply appreciative of every genre, every form of storytelling, you name it. I just want to, I don't know, experience other people's truths, experience things that I can't in real life, you name it.
And by the way, I owe you my entire career. People like you have given me a career. I wouldn't have had a career. I just wouldn't have found a foothold. Halloween gave me that. And now, you know, that was made way before you were born. But now you've continued to employ me, and I appreciate you very much.
I'm god-awful at receiving a compliment and not giving one back, but I am here. I have my career because of the work you do. So thank you right back to you.
God bless you.
You're awesome.